So in this session, we're going to take a look at the new work orders scheduling option in Evolve FM. In this basic look, we're seeing all the service providers we have and a list over here on the left-hand side. And within the calendar option, I'm looking at May of 2019. We are seeing all the work orders we currently have active on the different days of the month for the month of May. To get a better feel for what we're looking at on the calendar page, I'm going to come over here to work orders, and here we're seeing a list of our work orders, of some recent ones. And the important fields to understand here are the target date and the labor provider. And if I open one of these up, you'll see the other information that matters is the estimated hours, because the estimated hours is how you'll see the actual time the technician's going to take to complete this work order, how that shows up on the work order scheduler. So just be aware that the target date and the estimated hours are the two critical fields that you want to make sure you complete, because those are what get used in the scheduling component. And it's your choice whether you want to go over here to the labor tab within the work order and add the person that's doing the work now within this form, or whether you want to leave this blank and assign the work order to the person in the scheduling component. You can do that either way. And you'll notice down below here I've got two work orders that are assigned in the month of May that do not have labor assigned to them yet. And when we go back and look at the calendar, you'll notice how those stand out on the calendar form. So here you can see all the active work orders that are assigned have the dates here. And you notice that if I hover over one, the details about that work order show up next to it in that with white text with the gray background. And you'll also notice that these two work orders here, this one here and this one here, are a different color, and that's because there is no labor assigned to those two work orders. Also, you'll notice over here on the left side where I've got all my labor providers that each labor provider has a color attached to their name. And you'll notice that any name that I checkbox here, the color of any work order changes to their color if it's assigned to them. So I can tell by the color here that this work order here and this one here belong to Amy in this case. So if I check all the boxes, I can see who all the work orders on this calendar belong to. And here's a look with all the labor all checkboxed so that all the work orders are highlighted in the color of the labor provider. Over here on the right side, you can see that while I've got the monthly view up right now, we have lots of other views of how we can present the work orders depending on what we're trying to do. So I can see a weekly presentation, 7-day rows, 5-day rows, 1-day rows, and 7-day and 5-day and 1-day columns. And we'll take a look at all these just so you can get a sense of the different looks you can get depending on what you're trying to accomplish as you're spreading the work around. So to show you some of the neat things we can do here, I've turned on some names. You can see the ones I've got checkboxed here, and you can see the color codes here so that you can see that, for example, Earl owns this one and he owns this one just on the basis of the color, and Corbett owns this one, and Amy owns that one, and up top here, I've got, you notice, an unscheduled. So this is basically an unassigned work order here. So lots of things I can do working through some of these things. So if I needed to move these around for some reason, all I need to do is grab this and change the time by moving it that way. And you notice I get this notice here because in Evolve Work Orders, we have the option of being able to define the location and the profession of the person in terms of whether they should be assigned this work order or not. So for example, Amy is not specifically assigned to 160 Canal Street, but the actual work assignment is for a building or floor at 160 Canal Street. So it's saying, do you really want her to do this? I'm going to say yes, but in truth, you might want to change that assignment to someone who's actually assigned to that building, for example. And perhaps I want to take this work order that's assigned to Earl for Tuesday, and I want to move it another day over, so I can drag it right over to here. And notice it tells me about him that he's not an electrician, and this is an electrical job, and he's not assigned to Canal Street, and this is a job being done at Canal Street. Now, I can still say okay here, but if I had unintentionally misassigned this work order to someone who's not assigned to those areas, and I wanted to fix that, this would be a great time to do it. So I could bail out if I wanted to, or I'm going to say sure, that's okay, and continue. And this unassigned work order I have up here, I can do a double click on it to open it up, and I can see that it's something to do with an inspection for an HVAC unit. So I might want to go over to labor, and I look over here and I know that Bernard is my HVAC guy here, so maybe I'm going to just add labor here, and I'm going to go to my pick list and put it to him and save that. Close it. And now I see there's nothing else for him in the rest of this list here today, so we're just going to grab this, and you notice the minute I bring it into the body, it shows me the length of time that I assigned it for, so now I know what kind of a block of time I have. So here I'm going to have him work from 10 to 30, and bing. And again, the same messages that are a reflection of assignment to both space and profession. So we get this. So I'm going to say yes, and he's placed here. Now let's take a look at Platform Admin for a minute and talk about this. So here are my label providers here. Let's go look at Bernard here. So we're going to double click on him to open up his record. And we have all kinds of detailed information about labor that we can put in here to document these guys. But let's get over here to locations. So he is assigned to Canal Street, and I could assign him to as many properties as I want just by hitting the add button here. So when I hit add, list of all my properties comes up, and I could say, all right, maybe he's going to have, in addition to Canal Street, he's also going to have the Harrison campus, and we could say, okay, let's save that. Now he's got 2 geographic areas he's assigned to, and trades. He's electrical and HVAC, so that's fine. So we'll say, okay, that's good. But that's how you basically assign labor, so that you can qualify whether they should or should not be assigned to a particular work order. So now when I go back over to the calendar, you can see how we get those messages when we drag these things around, in terms of you really do want to assign those people to those projects depending on their skill sets and what locations they're assigned. And just to show you some of the alternate ways you can do things, this is our 5-day column view for that same week. And what I've done is I've undid the Bernard work order assignment to show you another way to be able to place that. So this work order is back in the unassigned column over here, so we know it's not assigned to anyone. Now I've got all the people that I've checkboxed to show their names show up across the top here, so that I can see all their weeks and schedules. So if I want to assign this unassigned work order to Bernard, and I wanted to do it Thursday at, say, 10 o'clock, all I got to do is grab this and drag it over to Thursday at 10 o'clock, and bingo. And I'll say, yeah, I do, and bang, it's assigned. And so it changes to his color, and it's assigned to him, and it's in the calendar. So, and all the data, all the appropriate data in the work order itself is changed based upon these graphical repositionings that I'm doing within the framework of these structures. So it gives you a pretty good idea of the flexibility you have in terms of being able to look at workloads for people and deciding, in some cases where they are, what they need to do, that sort of thing, and then assigning them so that you can see that the work spread around appropriately when you've got a really busy calendar. Here, mine isn't terribly busy because it was just a model built to show you some of the functionality, but you can see that if you had some overloads between people, it would be really easy to look at this and be able to redistribute the work based upon what the layout looks like. And if you think about how all work orders in Evolve are constructed in terms of always showing when you care to put the information in a property, building, floor space, and even an asset assignment. So all the filtering processes can be applied here. So if I cancel that and come over here, if I just wanted to search for work orders that were assigned to a certain property or building, a floor, that kind of thing, I have that ability to apply those filters and thus narrow the matrix of work orders or information that I'm looking at any given time. So you have pretty much a horizontal and vertical way to look at this information in ways that make it easy for you to distribute workloads if that's your job within the organization. And that is a quick overview of the new work orders scheduling component that's available in Evolve FM. Thanks for watching.